be the host moderating this. This panel is called Aliens 40, the 40th anniversary of one of the best sequels ever made.
Yeah!
Which is true. Some people say The Godfather, Emperor's Back, I don't know. But anyways, so every time I say that, I'm gonna give you guys a cue. And whenever I say Aliens is one of the best sequels ever made. And you guys can join in too if you'd like. All right, so without further ado, 40 years ago, a sequel did something impossible. It didn't just live up to a classic, it redefined what a sequel could be. In 1986, Aliens took the terror of Alien and turned it into something bigger, louder, and unforgettable. Introducing the Colonial Marines, iconic characters, and one of the greatest action heroines of all time. Tonight, we're celebrating not just a movie, but a legacy. A film that changed sci-fi, action, and fandom forever. Once again, welcome to Aliens 40, the 40th anniversary of one of the best sequels ever made.
Yeah!
All right, so our first guest, let's just say she didn't just play a Colonial Marine, she defined one. In Alien, she gave us one of the toughest, most fearless, and most iconic characters in sci-fi history, Private Vasquez. Let's be honest, Vasquez didn't just hold her own. She was the one that everyone was trying to keep up with. She gave us unforgettable moments, unforgettable lines, and proved when things go bad, you want Vasquez in your corner. And if you don't believe me, just ask Drake. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Jeanette Goldstein. All right, and our next guest, if you know Aliens, you definitely know this man. He played one of the most intense, unpredictable, and unforgettable Colonial Marines, Private Drake. Half the time, he looked like he was about to save the day, and the other half, he looked like he might start a fight with his own squad. And let's be honest with him, that's exactly why we love him. Beyond Aliens, you see him in everything from Lethal Weapon to Shawshank Redemption. He's built a huge career over the years, so let's not forget, let's give a big Wondercon welcome to Mark Rolston. And I believe we might have one more last-minute guest, someone who's kind of lingering around the back area. I don't know. They asked if they could have some stage time, so. All right. There he is. Or she.
Always has to get in the
Can't
shot.
tell. All right, well, you better go. Ripley's coming. All right. Folks, we can go ahead and start this panel to Aliens 40. The best sequel ever made. All right, let's go ahead and begin. So here we are, Jeanette and Mark, thanks for joining us, by the way. 40 years later, why do you think this film has held up 4 decades later?
Wow.
Deep.
Well, I don't know. I was just watching the cut, which was amazing, the edit back there, and I was just like, man, the sound design is incredible. I mean, that's not the entire reason, but I mean, every bit of it is just tight.
Every frame is just packed with pure action. It doesn't stop. It's relentless, and it's James Cameron, please.
King of the world.
Yeah, I don't know. I usually ask everyone because it's kind of crazy. I mean, I think it's a classic story. It's a war story. You know, that's the genre. And of, a troop of soldiers who go out. I mean, you can do it, whichever period, whichever war you want it to be. And I think it has to do with the film takes its time and to let the audience understand every one of the characters. If you watch it, you're amazed like how slow compared to a movie nowadays. It's like it just sets right off, which is a mistake. You get to really learn who everyone is before you start killing them. So, I mean, then you care about them. Otherwise, you're like, who, So.
I agree. Just a lot of iconic characters and a lot of quotable
Oh, the lines.
Lines, yeah, exactly. So I think that's one of the reasons, but among the great acting, the characters you care about, the villain, of course, James Cameron. That's why it's one of the best sequels ever made! Yes, yes. You guys agree with that, right?
Absolutely.
I know you've been in a couple of sequels yourselves, but...
They don't let me touch the original.
The original's great, right? It's a great movie.
Oh yeah, oh my God. There would not have been this without, Ridley Scott sitting, building that world and those people and what the future looked like, that it wasn't all shiny and new and super, futuristic. It was kind of looked like our world and just kind of, everything was falling apart and kind of sweaty.
Well, speaking of which, we're looping some pictures and it just had, look at that, look at those guns.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that you were both living in England at the time, where they shot, if you don't know, they shot Aliens, one of the greatest sequels ever made! They shot it at Pinewood Studios. That's where they shot Star Wars and a lot of the James Bond movies, but that's where they shot it in 1985, and you were both living there, right?
That's right. Yeah, both and I, we had studied acting in England, and just happened to be at the right place at the right time.
We both married English people, English persons, and so we decided to stay over there and start working in England. And you were doing the films that came over. I had just left acting school, and so I was doing a lot of theater as well. But yeah, and they, the union, we were a member of the British Actors Union, and so they could only bring over so many actors who were not of that union, so they always look at who are the Americans who are working there with a union card.
Yeah.
And so that's how they cast a wide net.
Yeah, there was a small contingent of Canadian American actors, and again, a small pool, but luckily they had that law that they had to, however many guys they brought from Hollywood, they had to hire the requisite amount from guys in England. So we both went through the same process with Sound and Order. That was an exciting night. But we were lucky enough to go through the whole process, first meeting Gail and her, Jim's then wife and amazing producer.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Produced Aliens.
Finally meeting Jim, we all read Hudson's lines.
Even me.
Even for our auditions. Some of the guys were under the delusion that they were actually auditioning for Hudson, like Rico Ross. Yeah, the process was amazing. Finally, like the fourth or fifth time that I got summoned out to Pinewood Studios, thinking I had to audition again. But Jim and Gail were there, and they finally handed me the script and said, we want you to play Drake, and one caveat was that I had to bulk up, because I was only like 180 pounds. So by the time they got through with me, I was almost like 225. Wow. Yeah. No HDH, just...
So I wasn't in that sort of shape. Actually, I I'd always kind of been a tomboy, and I'd been a gymnast, and so I had started lifting weights, which was a really unusual thing to do for women back in the 80s. I just happened to live near a gym and where Mr. and Miss Britain worked out at. So I kind of saw the whole bodybuilding culture, and I was like, hey, this is cool. Maybe let me see what kind of shape I can get into. And so I spent 2 years, I still work up getting into, and I just happened to be in that kind of shape when I walked in for the audition. So I had.
He was ripped.
Yeah. So it's on film. I don't look like that. 40 years later, it's not like that. It's on film though. Thank God. As my kid said, like, Mom, you don't look like that anymore. But when I came, they had told me that the role of Vasquez had already been cast. And I don't know the complete truth, but what it was that Jim and Gail really, really needed the body. And there were no actors, no women, except for bodybuilders who looked like that. So there was a bodybuilder. They were looking at it, and they were giving her acting classes, assuming that she would play the role. And then when I walked in to audition for either the pilot or the tech, they gave all of us Vasquez's lines to read, just to see how we could read. So they said, don't worry about it, because it's already cast, so just do it however you want to. So I just played it as Vasquez, and then they gave me Hudson to read, which was also really strange, because they said, you're not reading for this role either. And then they kept having me back and, asking me, what do I know about this kind of person? I said, I'm from LA, and, what is your ethnicity? I said, well, I'm Jewish, but it's kind of mixed from different backgrounds, and just a lot of stuff. And then they gave me, Cameron gave me the script and said, we don't know what part we want you to play, but we definitely want you in this movie. And so I went home, they said, just give us 2 weeks, and then we'll tell you who you're playing. So I was like, oh my God, I'm in a movie, I can't believe it. And I read the script finally, and I just thought, oh my God, I want to be Vasquez. And then I got the call 2 weeks later, and they said, we have some really good news for you. So,
That is in one of the best sequels ever made. Sorry, I'm gonna keep doing that until I catch on. Here we are, 40 years later. Don't want to bring up the elephant in the room, but I'm going to in front of 500 or 600 people. A white woman portraying a Latino woman. Was that that's something that could never be done now? But to your credit, you crushed it. Did you not?
Yeah!
And from what I hear, everyone's okay with it.
yeah.
Hey,
I
man,
mean,
I'm Latino,
well,
I'm cool with it.
Thank you. Gracias. Yeah, no, I mean, there's the difference between, there's acting and then there's access. And there needs to be access for all types of actors.
Yeah.
So, but everybody, I ain't Irish either, so.
So you all bonded before you went into production. You went into kind of a Hollywood boot camp, right?
So to speak. It was. We rehearsed for a couple of weeks, and then when the Hollywood guys got there, we went through a sort of mini boot camp. We had some, real British SAS officers and now consulting on the film, and they put us through our paces. And like Jeanette was already in great shape. I was in really great shape because I had to work out 3 months prior, like 5-6 days a week, and that was pretty intense. But the most hilarious thing was the first morning of the boot camp. It's like a 4:30 a.m. call, and they say, "Okay, 5-mile run, go." And they're barking at us like we're Marines, right? So I take off, and then I could hear from the background after a bit, it's like Paxton going, "Hey, like, do I really have to do this, man? 'Cause I just got off a flight and I got a little jet lag," and they're like, "Marine, you will do this!" So it was already in character.
Yeah, great. So during boot camp, obviously you bonded. I understand that the late Al Matthews, who played Apone, he was a Vietnam vet, and he kind of acted as a sergeant, and then he acted as a sergeant.
Absolutely. I mean, he would let you know. The one thing he told me, I'd never forget it, when we did the table read. He said to me, do you see what that stair she has? That's that 200-mile, 20-mile, whatever that dead-eyed stare is, and that's exactly, what a killer would have in the Marines. And his, that monologue, that was improvised, rewritten by him, and we could not have done it without him.
Yeah, Al was, real deal. He brought a lot of weight to what we were doing. Not only that, the day we were doing the drop ship down to the LB 446, the set started to fall apart, and part of it almost crashed into Sigourney. And Al was up, holding the set up and barking. All was like, move, out. And we were just like, oh yeah, sure. Taking off out of the set, but he amazing guy. It's a shame because he only did like one other film or something. 1 or 2 things afterwards, and then he retired to Spain. Yeah.
Well, it's not a bad way
No, not a bad way.
live either, is it? So you all bonded in boot camp. There was one actor who didn't go to boot camp. The Michael Biehn. Unfortunately, he can't be here tonight. because he's got prior engagements, but we shall see, maybe at Comic-Con, hint, hint. Anyways, what was it like to bring in Michael Biehn? Because I know he famously or infamously replaced James Remar because he was going through some problems.
Yeah, James Remar too. It would have been a different film, a different portrayal of Hicks, but hats off to Michael. I mean, he literally gets a call, is on set a day or so later, and stuffed himself into James Remar's equipment. But you'll see next time you look at the film, it's like slightly ill-fitting, and Michael. Yeah, because this thing off because it was too small for him. Michael was a much bigger guy, and Michael hated it, because we all got to personalize our gear. And Michael just hated what James Remar had put on his gear, but there was no chance. We'd already started
because
filming.
he'd put a heart, right? He'd etched a heart right through his heart, and Michael goes, "It's a fucking bullseye." But it was interesting because as actors, we spent 2 weeks with James Remar, and you all know his performances and what an incredible actor he is. But he's that low, gravelly voice, and it was a completely different version, no better, no worse, but just his portrayal of that role. And then Michael comes in with this completely different vibe, look and softness, and it was like that. And that version of Hicks is another version, another actor doing it. And so it's fascinating to see how different actors can portray. I'm sure you've seen screen tests on YouTube, and you see different actors doing it, and it's just everybody's great. It's just what the director wants for the role then.
Yeah. And I got a question I would ask Michael if you were here. The decision to when they're all dropping, everyone's panicking, especially Hudson. Hicks is sleeping. Was that in the script, or is that Michael's idea?
I think it was. It's so hard to know when I look at the original script, because right now there was so much improvising and also just the greatest words written to figure out what was what. I know he was really jet lagged. He was really and he said he was really glad that he said Hicks doesn't say very much. He was really happy.
Strong silent type, yeah.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Great, iconic in it. Another person I would be remiss if I didn't mention, he's no longer with us, is the late great Bill Paxton.
Yeah.
Remember the first thing I saw him in was Weird Science's Chat. And I think it was 2016 for the 30th anniversary of one of the greatest sequels ever made!
That's a mouthful.
It was, that's why I keep messing it up. And he was there, he was giving stories about going down with James Cameron to visit the Titanic. And he had some great stories and anecdotes about how he did a lot of improv lines. Like in True Lies, and I imagine you did the same with Aliens as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Bill was always trying to find a way to get more lines in the picture.
More screen time.
But the fun thing is that a lot of them were really good improvs, and Cameron had no problem saying, "Hey, say that and don't say that." Just a little back history. Jim Speck wrote the script. That means he just had seen Alien, and Speck wrote this idea.
As a fan.
As a fan. Took it to Fox. They said, "Well, we really like it. We'll buy it off you." And he said, "No, I'm."
He said, "But I just directed Piranha 2. They were not that
one
impressed.
of the greatest sequels ever made.
Yeah. No.
But the point being, between the time that he first took it to Fox to the time the movie was made, well, of course, in between time, Fox said, "Well, go away and make a sci-fi action feature, and then we'll talk." And genius of James Cameron, he makes Terminator. Come on. But I'm sure, in the 8 years in between the first draft and when it was made, he's such a perfectionist. And the reason why there's so many great lines and just character development is because I think he was constantly tweaking it and just going back over it. He's that kind of guy. But the dialogue in this film, albeit, a sci-fi action feature, is just priceless. Priceless. That's not to denigrate anything, but, recent iterations of Aliens, some of the action is phenomenal, some of the technology, great, but really crappy dialogue.
Agreed.
And then they have to resort to like trying to use the lines that Jim wrote, right? To validate their picture. It's like, guys, you gotta put better work in.
Well, we have a quick clip, if we're ready, of Bill Paxton, one of my favorite scenes. If we're ready to roll that real quick? Okay.
How long after we're declared overdue can we expect a rescue?
17 days.
17 days? Hey man, I don't want to rain on your parade. We're not going to last 17 hours. Those things are going to come in here just like they did before, and they're going to come in here and they're going to come in here and they're going to kill us!
This little girl survived longer than that with no weapons and no training. Right?
Why don't you put her in charge?
Better just start dealing with it, Hudson. Listen to me. Hudson, just deal with it because we need you and I'm sick of your bullshit.
That was great. That line gets me every time.
Why don't you put her in charge?
Oh, God bless them. See how I edited that clip right before she said the word. Okay. I got a question for you. When you filmed in Pinewood Studios, a lot of your crew was, well, all of your crew was British. I heard there was a little bit of a conflict between their work ethic versus James Cameron's work ethic. For example, tea time. He was not a big tea time guy, was he?
Well, first of all, they were, you know, the crew at Pinewood, they're there, right? They're on salary, and so the director inherits the crew, which is a little different from how the U.S. work. I mean, some of this too, but it's very different. So they're there, so he doesn't, and also here he was, this young, what was he, 30, this, you know, Yank, although he said, I'm a Canadian, but anyway, their idea, you know, who is this, you know, young Yank, you know, doing the great, you know, Scott, so there was a lot of stuff, you know, that he was walking into a lot, you know, prove it to us. So they got that, and also having Gail, this young woman, being the producer, and they gave her a lot of shit, you know. It was not good, so.
But extremely professional crews. I mean,
Yeah, oh yeah.
The same crews that were doing the James Bond movies.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like for example, you know, the Moonscape set, right? That set was built in 4 days with hand-painted backdrops. I mean, extraordinary artisans, really. But it wasn't so much a conflict with who the crew were. It was just that the head guy I just done this movie Revolution, and Derek Cracknell. Derek Cracknell was the number one AD on that film, and so he's world-renowned as a first AD, but a very powerful kind of guy. So I'm sure he and Jim had a little bit of just, you know, sorting out that, but the tea time was the issue. Because in England, you have your 11s, that's 11 a.m., then you have your 1s, then you have your 3s, right? And this is standard. Like, there's this little lady who comes around with a pot of coffee and a pot of tea, and these little, they call them...
Blotties, they're called?
Yeah, but they call them like sandwiches, but they're not really. Like, they're hardly a bite. And it's just a little roll with butter, and then maybe a cucumber. I mean, really horrible. But it was a tradition. It was a tradition.
No Jersey
And the day that Jim lost his cool was, I remember this, like we're getting ready to shoot, and massive soundstage. And suddenly, from behind all of us, the big soundstage doors start to open. And there at the bottom is Daphne with her little cart, interrupting the entire shoot. Coming on and, hello everybody, hello.
He just lost.
Jim lost his shit. Get her the hell out of here. And then the crew felt they had to protect Daphne, and yeah, it was a thing.
It was a clash of cultures, you know.
Yeah.
Culture clash. There
Must
you
have
go.
been a clash on set. I mean, 1 minute you're serving tea and scrumpets, and then 5 minutes later you're blowing away aliens, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Acid blood. Speaking about blowing them away, the guns in this, these are some of the biggest guns I've ever seen. I'm not just talking about yours, by the way, on your arm. I mean, that gun that you handle, it's got to be like, it's probably the size of you.
The size of me.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? What was the
It was
number?
a
Oh, what?
MG-42 anti-aircraft machine gun. Fully working weapon. The Jim in his
It's usually on a tripod, you know,
Yeah.
on the back of a truck, so.
Steadicam technology was brand new, and who but Jim would think, let's put a gun on it. And
Yeah, and so it was like 75, 80 pounds, but the arm, you know, takes a lot of the weight. Now in this picture, I'm not wearing the Steadicam unit, so
That's the
I
real
think they-
deal, huh?
No,
We
it's
were
weird.
rehearsing.
We were rehearsing, and I think I hadn't been strapped in yet, so they said just hold on to it. But it kind of balanced it. Although the Steadicam unit, it was new technology, and there were no women Steadicam operators in those days. There are now, thank God. And so they found a unit of the smallest operator there was, who was like 5'8", and I'm only 5'2", and this thing did not fit me, and they're rented. So the Terry.
Marsh. No, Terry, oh
Oh
gosh.
shoot. Anyway, the arms guy, famous arms guy, he took it off and he soldered it and cut off, you know, the bottom third of it so it wouldn't hit my knees. And there's a beautiful
Wow, what's that?
sunset. It's fantastic. I love it.
I don't remember that space.
Yeah, so the using it was really interesting, and so that whole kind of it looked like a ballet in a way what we did together. That was really fun.
Yeah, the arm itself probably weighed about 35, 40 pounds. It had a massive spring that could just make the cantilever to make the gun float.
But you had to sit. We learned that you had to sit way back on it, or it would, you know, if you let go of it, it would pitch forward and throw you with it.
Yeah.
We did have a release, like an emergency release thing on it, which was great because in the scene in the APC when it catches fire, when I unintentionally killed my best friend. Sorry, it was a mistake. And
Friendly fire.
Yeah, and we're yelling and we're like
Literally.
screaming and panicking. Well, we were really yelling, screaming, and panicking because me and Bill and Michael Biehn could not breathe because they used, you know, real flamethrower, and it set whatever they had painted the inside of the APC with to age it. It set off this fume, this toxic fume, and we couldn't breathe. And so and Michael pulled my emergency thing to release it, and we all scrambled out, and then they went back and reshot it with a flame effect. But the first one he did. You want to talk about your first day on set?
Yeah, my first day was introduction to action filmmaking. I had going to do my death scene, right? So I had wire tubes running up my leg, up underneath my appliance, fully made up like I had this horrible accident, but then turn away from the camera, I looked, normal. But a fully lit flamethrower, right? It's going to shoot flame 25 yards. All these things will not happen in today's world. They literally do not. They do not happen anymore. Insurance and liability. But here we were in the heyday of filmmaking. Really, it is. You think about it. It's amazing
Dummy
for us.
bullets, but they're real,
Yeah, 50 caliber dummy rounds we shot. We made a lot of noise.
Yeah,
But,
to my knowledge, it was one of the last movies to use practical effects until the big CGI wave came.
I don't know for sure, but yeah, it is certainly one of the last great ones.
Yeah, and that's why it's one of the best sequels ever made!
So anyway, getting back to my death scene.
Oh.
No, just quickly, the introduction. So I'm completely wired up, and I have to turn. Oh, first of all, they had 3 chemicals in the tubes. One bubbled, one fizzed, and the other smoked. And they were all water activated. So before any of this happened, I had to go, hold my breath. They'd spray water on them. Things start bubbling, fizzing, and smoking. I had to turn into camera with the lit flamethrower, fire it directly at James Cameron and the DP.
behind a screen.
Who were behind a plexiglass sheet, and then fall amongst a bunch of flame bars and then wait for two really big dudes to come pick me up, and I was like 225, 230, and they lifted me up like I was nothing, put me in front of a helicopter van to blow the fumes away, and then I could breathe. First day on set.
Trial by fire.
So over the years, I guess you probably had this question a lot, I'm sure. As actors, you probably studied your characters and kind of developed your own backstories, but what exactly is the backstory between Vasquez and Drake?
Oh. Well, it was in the script, the two of them, I mean, it described Drake as a hayseed from, farmland or whatever.
Iowa.
Yeah, Iowa. And I was, a gang member from East LA. And
Yeah! Gotta represent right here, gotta represent!
But, and then we were both serving life sentences in juvenile prison. So, and we were conscripted, we were given the choice, either spend the rest of your life behind bars or the rest of your life in the Corps. And that bonded us, but it also gave why we had nothing to lose. And it made perfect sense why the people who are the bravest, usually the people have nothing, they have nothing to lose. Whereas Hudson, like you said, he had 2 weeks left. Yeah. And again, that was so, he wasn't a coward. It was just, he had so much to lose. He was almost getting out, and the two of us were never getting out. So I love the logic of his writing. It just makes it so easy to play.
Yeah, and you guys are definitely ride or die characters, yeah. But all of you as characters and actors, you're pretty tight. I mean, you do the conventions and you hang. I don't know if you hang out personally, but I saw you at the Saturn Awards a couple of weeks ago.
What? Yeah, we were.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, the 40th anniversary of
The greatest sequel ever made!
That's good. There you go.
Fair enough.
Make it of it.
And there they are, right there. That was only less than 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. It's unusual. I mean, people always say.
Here, but it's a picture of all them holding their Saturn Awards because they won the prestigious George Powell Award. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was a great day. It was a lot of fun.
No, but Jeanette and I, how we made friends is because the morning that they were going to test the vest and the weapon, and Jim, all the department heads are there, and Jim says, "Go ahead, present the weapon." We go like this, and the whole thing flies off and clatters on the floor. And then all the department heads were going, "What do we do?" And then Cameron says, "Duct tape."
That was the solution to every problem, was duct tape. If it broke, just tape it up.
Yeah.
And so because we were duct taped in the morning after we went to makeup and hair and all of that sort of thing, they would go, "Okay, go to the bathroom because you're not going to the bathroom until we break for lunch." Because they duct taped us in it. So between shots, where other people would go and get tea or whatever they were doing, we had these special stools made for us with a hole right here so we could put Mark and I sat next to each other on our stools, and we would talk, how you feeling? Not too great. So, we became best friends.
Paxton having fun over there.
Yeah, there we are.
Wonder what they have for tea.
So we just sat there, and but all of us, it's fascinating. Some of us live in LA, some live in England, Canada.
Yeah,
all over, and New Orleans, and we get to see each other at conventions. It's wonderful, but we
remain really close because we live in LA.
We came out for the premiere.
Seen our children grow up.
Yeah, and then
Jeanette.
We almost forgot. Yeah, we came over because we were both living, and we weren't really sure where are we going to fly all the way back or whatever. And they called and they said, "Yeah, you should come back. You should really come back." And so
Jeanette's parents were very kind, and they let me stay at their house.
Yeah. So we became great friends.
That's awesome. Yeah, and here you are 40 years later. I doubt the cast of Aliens 3 is that tight.
I don't know. I'll just say Aliens is the only film in my lifetime where I've remained truly great friends with everybody. I went to the 30th anniversary of Shawshank a year or so ago, and thank you.
Another gem.
I hadn't seen any of the guys in 30 years. It was like, "Oh, hey, Bill," and, whereas we're always catching up and coming over for dinner or jumping in the pool. It's a different vibe. And maybe it was because we were all 30-year-olds, not quite 30 years old, but you know, it was really adventurous. This was a big deal, right? And we didn't even know how big a deal it was going to be.
And that includes Sigourney and Paul Reiser, and I mean Sigourney, unfortunately she couldn't be at the Saturn Awards, and so we did a Zoom. I did a Zoom with her and Jim and Mike. We were talking, and she just choked up. She was in London doing a TV series or something, and she was like, "Oh my God, I wish I could come." And yeah, no, it's really a family.
Yeah, that's just another reason why Aliens is
The greatest sequel ever made.
all right. Okay, so you're doing great. We are going to get to some questions. Before we do that, I just have one quick question. Do you believe in aliens?
I believe it.
I mean, life on other planets, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's possible.
I get too much to worry about here on Earth.
Okay, all right, fair enough. All right, we're going to open it up to some audience questions. You can, the mic's right up here. I don't know if there's any kind of organized line. I'm sure some of you must have questions because we are here.
Somebody.
We are here for Aliens 40, the 40th anniversary of.
Oh, so they're running away. I caught you.
There we go. We got someone who's got a question. Oh, you, sir.
I don't want to jump the line.